Carlos Ramirez, owner of NVS Audio in Roselle, New Jersey. And I have
Brandon with Davidson Audio out of Panama City, Florida.
So as you guys already know, Brandon is the Indian specialist. He takes this really seriously. Nobody has more time and money invested in Indian parts and research and development. So the lids that are made from the Indian, the other ones that are out there, there's an issue with the fit and finish. What I find happens is the other companies are more concerned with doing stuff for Harleys. So the attention to detail and the quality kind of falls through the cracks because the Indian market isn't as big and lucrative as they want. So Brandon saw an opportunity there, so he decided that he wanted to build something that was a good fit and finish, a real upgrade, rivals the quality of the factory. So he actually owns the patents and the molds for the lids for Victories, Indians, and he's developed a product that fits a lot better. So I'm gonna let him talk to you about it, show you the differences and why his lids are better and why it would be a better solution for you.
Just real quick, down and dirty, we took our lids and our biggest concern was on the market. Everybody's still concerned with 8/8s. Carlos can attest, we're seeing more and more of these companies do a compression horn styled speaker, so there was no need for us. So we actually brought this down to a truer size to fit an actual 8-inch speaker. And like you said, from there, we just took more time making sure that this area where the seal goes fits a lot proper, have a flatter area here. And one issue we see across the board is this area. This is where your seal for the lock mechanism goes. It's usually way too thick and not round, so it binds up, not allowing you to close your lids very well. So that's really the down and dirty. We send you the lids, the seals, and a bracket so you can keep your power port intact. That's about it on those.
We'll cut away and show you what the speakers look like fitted in the lid so you can see the fit and finish. But I've used his lids, and it will be the only set of lids that we carry here in the shop for the Indians, obviously other than the 6-inch lids that are the OEM style.
Yep.
This is not optional, this is mandatory when you do electronics. So we carry water covers for the street glides because the Harley Davidson street glide's infamous for getting a little bit of water in the fairing, not so much of an issue on the road glides. Now on the Indians, because the motorized windshield, it literally pours in the fairing.
Yep.
So he has a laser cut design. He's got a very install specific video on how to install this to give you maximum protection when you're doing amplifiers in the fairing of these Indian motorcycles. This is not optional. You really don't have a choice. If you're not using an amp that's 100% waterproof, not weatherproof, 100% waterproof, it will get destroyed in the fairing of the Indian. Go on his YouTube channel. He shows you step by step how to install it. There is no shortcut to this. You have to completely disassemble it. You have to remove the windshield, the motor assembly. But if you follow his directions and do it exactly the way he tells you to do it, you will get 0 water on your amplifiers. Anything you want to add to it, Brandon?
No, like you said, this is our standard in the package. We don't send out a single package without them. We really just designed this off of keeping our equipment dry from your amplifiers, DSPs, keep everything watertight and protected. So we give you the down and dirty on those.
We learned the hard way that on the Indians, it's not just water coming in from the top, it actually gets water coming in from the front through the headlight. So the water cover protects it on the top and the bottom.
Yep.
So.
100%. And these are for the Indian Challenger Pursuits. These fit all sorts of shit.
These are the amplifier mounting plates that he designed. His kits use Sound Digital Evo X Power Sports amplifiers. Those are the weather resistant ones. He won't use anything else, and after doing a few Indians, I realized why he does it that way. So it allows you to mount the amplifiers in the factory location in the fairing. Once again, go on his YouTube channel. He has very detailed videos on how to install these. If you do it properly, the fairing will fit on perfectly. The headlight will go back in. The amplifiers will be up as high as possible and under his waterproof shroud will be completely protected.
Yep. The only thing I'll add to these are we sell them in a pair. You can buy them individually if you want. They are side specific, so clutch and brake side. And these are meant to fit, like he said, the 800.4 Evo PS amps, a HKI Mini, or a Rockford Fosgate 800 or DSR1, all pre-drilled, tapped. So we send you the hardware and everything, including the one extra hole to bolt it into place. We're gonna stick to Challenger specific right now.
We're moving through this stuff really quickly because we just want to get you as much information as possible and keep the video short as possible.
Yep.
He has very long, detailed, very long, very detailed videos on his YouTube page. So he shows you how to install these. He shows you what to modify, what to cut. So I'm just showing you how serious he takes this stuff and the quality of his products and what he has available. We literally use all his stuff on all the Indian installs because it just makes it faster, repeatable, serviceable, solid, and smart.
Yep. So right here, these are two different tweeter bridges that we developed specifically for the Challenger and the Pursuit. What Carlos is holding, that is the two-piece bracket we made for the Bema SQL60.
That's the Hershey Kiss tweeter from Bema.
Yep. And then these ones right here are for the Diamond, or now Cicada, the 075T tweeters, flush mounts, real thin. They bolt right in. And these will fit with a 6.5-inch mid-range or mid-bass speaker without an obnoxious hard cone on them that protrudes, like the PRVs, the Cicadas, Hertz, all that stuff. So these bolt in right across the front, then put it literally right behind the grill. No shit. Kissing the back of the grill. You can't put them any further forward.
So we started using these because at the beginning what we were doing was mounting them road glide style, where on the 15 and up road glides on the Harley Davidson you can mount the MO75 tweeter to the grill. But then what would happen is if you hit a really hard bump, the weight of the tweeter would cause the grill to pop off. So using these brackets, it bolts the tweeter in slightly behind the grill, so you don't have to worry about screwing these to the grill and just having the entire assembly held in with those cheap plastic clips. He actually fastens these in place. When you drop the tweeter, it's a lot safer. You don't have to worry about the grill popping out and scratching the fairing. So this was a no-brainer to us to start using these as soon as he started coming up with them.
Yep. And they include all the hardware for them right here. And the little baggies with them. These are just real basic 6.5-inch speaker, 1/4-inch spacers. These give us a little bit more room for the heftier speakers like the Cicadas, Diamonds, Euphorias. We've got them all to fit with a little bit of work, like the road glides. We're heating up the pods. Slap these in behind the speaker, press them in, and you're good to go. Gives you a little bit of extra clearance to fit the speaker in properly. And then from there,
Which models does this fit, the spacers?
The Diamond MP65s, the Cicada CH65s, the Euphoria, I don't know what the
Carbon fiber.
The carbon fiber and the paper cone ones. We've also tried
This is for the Indian Challengers?
Challenger and Pursuits.
And the Pursuits.
Yep. They also help with the yellow baskets. Still, the yellow basket's a royal pain in the butt to get fit in, but that does help just a little bit more. I don't think we've tried any other ones besides those right now.
Okay, everything that we're showing you now, we're going to show you tomorrow installed in the vehicle, so you can see the fit and finish, and you can see why these spacers are necessary.
Yep. And this takes us to one of our fundamental products that we developed was our preamp harness, and now this I think is on revision like 6. We constantly listen to what you guys are doing, and one of the biggest things is you got your front and rear channels input. These 2 wires are your remote outputs, and the reason we have 2 of them is because you can do up to 2 amplifiers in the fairing. And then we've got all your standard automotive colors. I mean, anybody that's in the 12-volt industry knows what these colors are for. So that's our preamp harness for the Challenger Pursuits from 2020 all the way up to the current ones. They still work.
This is exactly why Brandon and I started speaking in the beginning, is we do all the plug-and-play stuff for Harleys here at NVS Audio. So I wanted to start working on the Indians without cutting it. The first Indian that I've ever worked on was, I think it was Gary's, Shea Gary's, and another shop had completely butchered the bike and the harnesses, and it's not the way we like to do it here. So once I saw Brandon's videos where he literally makes these in-house. He has a wire cutting machine, it's perfect. So once I saw that he made them, I didn't want to invest the time and money to make them myself, so it's a quality product. So I just immediately called him and ordered a few sets for each model that he had available. That way we can plug into the factory harness and run our DSP the same way we do on the Harleys with no cutting and splicing. That way, if you have to revert it back to factory, there's nothing cut, you just unplug them and plug the factory wires back in. These things work phenomenal.
Yep, and this is just our 2019 and newer Chieftain. Same exact concept. We're actually going to be revising this again very soon. So this is the last few of our current revision, but same exact concept. Yeah, we got these two. These are going to be our amp plate and DSP plate for the 19 and newer Chieftains. These will actually work on 17 and newer Chieftains. This right here, there's a factory amplifier in the 17 and 18 Chieftains. The 19 and newer have the power units there. Up under the fairing, you'll literally unbolt those. This slides up in there, a couple of bolts right in, and then we also send you a set of fairing spacers. This will actually allow you to use a 804 or 1204 Evo PS. We bolt them right on here, pre-drilled and tapped and everything, and it makes it super easy to put on there. And then for us, our DSP plate, really simple, goes right behind the factory, ride command, bolts in. We use the DSR1 for right now. We got some other things in the plans to possibly change what DSP we're using, but it goes right on here, holds everything on, it bolts right into place, keeps everything in the fairing up out of the way. Nice little integration piece.
That's something that me and Brandon completely agree on, is we try and keep all the equipment in the fairing as much as possible. Clients are buying these baggers so they can travel, so we try not to take up space in the bag unless we're doing woofers. We try not to take up space in the tour pack, so it's not going to be the loudest bike possible, but if we're doing an 800.4 or two 800.4s, the entire install goes in the fairing. Everything's out of the way, it's mounted solidly, protected, and then you can use your bagger the way it was designed to be used, and you can take long road trips without having equipment inside the saddlebags. This is why this stuff is super useful, and this is why we like it and we support it, because it lines up with the way we like to build our bikes for our clients.
Yep. And that's the reason why we did that, is because we wanted to keep everything in the fairing. I was tired of seeing customers show up with multiple amplifiers, DSPs, not even properly installed in the bag, just like zip tied in there, Velcroed. It was nonsense. So we took that and ran with it. This isn't a product. We made this product, and I think this is kind of one of the ones that flopped on us. If you have somebody that's like hell bent on using a 5 1/4 still, we made these for the Challengers and Pursuits. It bolts right in. You can put a 5 1/4 in there, like the bigger horn compression ones. That way there's absolutely no trimming. You can bolt it right in here. It'll bolt right into the fairing enclosure. No modifications. You put a 5 1/4 in there all day, every day. We have them made. We're going to sell them if anybody's interested in them.
I have to get on Brandon a little bit about this. The reason this product's been a flop for him is Brandon waits until his videos are perfect before he posts them. What he doesn't realize is getting the information out there and making people understand is more important than making a perfect video.
Yep.
So where these would be a home run is we see in the Harley market, that's why the Hertz speakers are so popular for us. There are clients that want zero modifications. Some clients get a new motorcycle before they even get a brand new car. So it's a $30,000 or $40,000 investment, and you completely lose their attention as soon as you tell them you have to cut and modify. Yeah. So that's one of the reasons the Hertz speakers are so popular for us, like the SX165s, because you can do street glide, road glide, drop them in the fairing, zero modification. So now Brandon on his builds, of course, wants the most performance possible, and he's like me. A little bit of plastic to sacrifice to get 20, 30, 40% more output is no big deal. But a lot of clients, as soon as you tell them you're going to cut and modify, it kills the deal. So you're going to sacrifice 20 or 30% of your sound, but if you do it a 5 1/4, it will be 100% no modification, no cutting. There's a lot of clients out there that they don't want you to modify their bike. They're willing to give up a little bit of sound to make sure there is nothing cut, there is nothing heated, there is nothing bent. Everything has to be plug and play, and that is the client that will spend the money on these because he wants his bike factory. Yeah. And that's where these come in. So these are a necessary evil because you're not fitting a 6.5 in these pods without modifying. So if you are that 100% plug and play guy, no modification, these are for you. And then if you use a high power, like a CXX or Euphoria Expert, or you're gonna get really good output out of the 5 1/4, and it completely outperforms a lot of the 6 1/2s on the market.
Yeah, we actually have customers that have the original designs of those that we did in acrylic before we even went to metal, and they're still using. I think I have one customer upgrade to those since then, but yeah, we've used them and really good performance out of them. That was back when they had the Diamond MPs,
Yep.
which they have improved 5 1/4 since then. So from there,
What are those power cables?
Yeah, so these
right here.
Oh, these right here. Speaking of not the perfect videos, we wanted to do a test. We had somebody on the page we found out. They said if you upgraded the factory starter wire from the battery to the solenoid to the starter, and then this little wire goes to some distribution block under there, that there was a massive and noticeable difference in starting the bike. So we said, screw it, let's test it out. In our video, which was a couple videos ago, we realized it gained you 1 amp of current draw difference. Neither of our bikes, we have it on 3 bikes, not a single one of the bikes started any easier. We have everything from a OEM battery, lithium battery, and an AGM battery. So we're gonna make that for people. I've had a couple of customers reach out that want them, even though just as peace of mind. So we're gonna make it's all high quality, oxygen-free copper wire. That's one thing I got from Carlos. We don't sacrifice on our wire. Everything we use is high quality, oxygen-free copper. I will not sacrifice there. We're not using stuff you get off of Amazon or eBay. We all use quality wire. So that's something we're gonna try. If people are interested, that's cool. If not, we'll have it anyways, just in case.
I'd like to see an upgraded ground in this kit too. You know, I'm a big fan of upgraded grounds.
It's funny you say that because right here, so we've got 4 different power ground kits, and what's one thing you see in it? All of them, bros.
Ah, there's the upgraded ground that I like.
Yep. So every one of our upgrade or our power ground kits come with an upgraded ground. That's one thing I saw a lot of you doing in there, so I said screw it, why not? So let's start with the Chieftain. I'm not going to go super detailed because it's kind of all the same crap, but this is our Chieftain large amp. We also offer it in a 4 gauge. All of our power ground kits come with an upgraded 4 gauge ground. We don't do anything smaller than 4 gauge ground because, as you said, you know, you're adding that extra current draw on your system, so you need an extra ground wire. That makes a huge difference, so we wanted to make that for our customers.
The reason I'm so big on upgraded grounds is even if you don't need it for whatever you add to your bike, down the road, anybody that works on the bike is just going to keep adding, and tapping into whatever's there without augmenting the factory ground. So then the current that travels from the frame to the battery is still factory, and you can overload it. So by doing a simple low-cost upgrade like this, as people are tagging on and adding on more lights and this and that, it increases the current flow to the battery, so it lessens headlight flickering, stuff like that.
Yep.
All our bikes get an upgraded ground. It's just a no-brainer.
Yeah, we have upgraded grounds for every single bike, so we might just add this as a separate item then. So for our Chieftain, we have our fuse holders. We use the same fuse holders for all of them. It's 4 gauge, 8 gauge. We got a nice bracket, so that's another thing we wanted to do is make sure all of our fuse holders are solidly secured. I can't tell you, I know you've seen it, where I've literally seen people take fuse holders and zip time to the radiator fan shroud. Like, that makes 0 sense to me. So all waterproof connectors, secure mounts, and on the Chieftains, because we want to make it easier, we do an Anderson connector. So you route this up into the fairing. Once you pre-mount your amplifier, which this goes onto the plate to your amplifier, when you go to put it in, you're done. You just hook it up and you go. So it makes it a lot easier to put that in there. We offer that in the 4 gauge. We have the 8 gauge kits, the exact same thing, just smaller wire. But
which bike's this for?
The Chieftain and Roadmaster.
Okay. And the batteries, where's it located on these bikes?
So this is located underneath the seat. So this bracket goes underneath the seat as well. So everything's underneath there, runs up the backbone into the fairing. Like I said, 8 gauge, 4 gauge, exact same kit, just smaller wire. And just make sure all of our kits, 4 gauge ground. I don't care if it's 8 gauge, 4 gauge wire, they're all the same.
We do the same thing.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense to make an 8 gauge wire, as you said, you add accessories. The Challenger's a little different. We don't add a quick disconnect like that. Actually, we'll just go with the bigger one. We have it in a single amp and dual amp, so if you're trying to run the two big high-powered 804s, same exact concept, power ground down to the battery. What we changed on here is you have wire ferrules for the top, so our 4 gauge or our 8 gauge will go directly to the amplifier. This one, the only difference is that these will go to a distribution block, which is on our fairing tray. So we buy and modify the OEM fairing trays from Indian. We mount 2 distribution blocks here. We take all the guesswork out of it, power ground, distribution. We provide the fuses, everything. This goes up in the fairing, and you install your DSP up here, 2 804s. I mean, really with that power plant, you can power quite a bit of stuff off of those 2 amplifiers.
Just so you understand, when he ships you the kit, you're getting the tray. So you don't have to modify your factory tray. You're getting a new tray with everything mounted.
Yep.
So that way it takes the guesswork out. And then, because I watched him modify a few of these, you have to know exactly where to grind and cut. So he takes the guesswork out. That way when you put it in, everything's going to fit the way he explains it in his videos.
Yeah, and one thing, if you get a kit from us, the DSP will be on here. The fairing harness will be attached to the bottom of it. So literally, you're going to get it, you're going to put it in the bike, you're going to plug in here, connect your amplifiers, and you're going to rock and roll. It's a little bit of a process, but I feel like people can handle it.
This is the one for the Challenger?
Yes, Challenger and Pursuit.
So the battery's in the front of those, right?
Yes, so the battery is up in the front, down at the bottom, below the radiator and behind the front tire. So there's an OEM bolt hole that we utilize. All of our brackets utilize OEM bolt holes. Besides the Chieftain DSP plate, we have a video on that. So you literally take the little cap off, you push this in here, you put a provided screw in here, and this bolts into a factory spot right down by the battery.
The reason I bring it up is the battery's in the front, which makes it tougher to get to. But
Yep.
what people don't realize is the exhaust runs right alongside it. If you do not position these wires perfectly, it will melt and it will ground out on the exhaust.
Yep.
That's why it's so important that he provides the bracket, because it holds the fuse holder exactly where it's supposed to be, and then that allows you to route the wire the way he does in the video without it moving and shifting. Like, audio's cool, but it has to be safe. It's got to be safe, it's got to be reliable, it's got to be serviceable in order for you to enjoy it. It's only an upgrade if it doesn't take away factory features and it doesn't break stuff.
Yeah, you don't want to burn your bike down. Then we've got some speaker wiring harnesses. This is another thing we kind of took from Carlos over here. We'll try the Challenger stuff. Challenger and Chieftain's all going to look the same. I'm not going to bore you guys with all the crap. This is a cool little one that utilizes the factory wiring for the tour pack. We don't see any need in running our own wire for the tour pack. So that 6-pin connector right there in the left of his hand plugs in underneath the fairing, gives you the 4 leads to go to your amplifier, and then the 2 little adapters go to the OEM connection at the speaker. So you can take your speaker, make the connections, plug it in, and use the factory wiring. On those, we send you the package. Those are already put on the back of the speaker. And as you can see, we already pre-stripped this right here, just like any other company does. And if the package comes from us, it's already gonna have wire ferrules on it. It's already gonna be labeled positive, negative, and it's gonna be good to go. And then here we offer passive and active harnesses, as you already know, for the people that really want to do active. So this is our passive fairing harness. This is for the lowers. This is for inside the saddlebags. So say if we have a customer like your guys' is stage 3 has a mid bass in the bags?
Yes, stage 3.
Yep. So like his stage 3, if somebody like say you want to do fairing, lowers, and the saddlebags, this is the wiring just for a mid bass in the bags, quick disconnects, all weatherproof connections, pre-loomed, and just to make it even easier, we color coordinated them. Everyone just like standard car audio. All the colors, white, gray, green, violet, to make it even easier to let you know where it goes.
I told you, he spent a lot of time and research on these kits. Like, there's a reason I chose to partner up with him. And he takes his business seriously. We take our business seriously. We appreciate our clients, and we're trying to do the best possible job to provide the best possible products, best possible tech support, and best possible solution. Another thing is, there's companies out there offering solutions, but it's always a cheap, quick fix with really thin wires. If you pay attention to the thickness of the wires in his harness, he makes sure that all these harnesses can handle 200-300 watts RMS, no problem. Yeah. We're talking 14 gauge oxygen-free copper wire, 12 gauge oxygen-free copper wire, high quality waterproof connectors. It's not entry-level stuff here.
No, we wanted to take it to the next level because I feel like a lot of people do cut those corners, and y'all spend your hard-earned money with us, so we're not trying to take and not provide high-quality products. Like I said, we offer everything from the fairing speakers, the lower harness, the saddlebag lid speakers, and then inside the saddlebags for mid-bass, and then passive and active. So the biggest difference is you saw the passive ones, the active one just has another whole set in it, like that's for the saddlebags.
Okay. So the video's getting kind of long now. I want to get
But
too boring. So we showed you the product today. Starting tomorrow, we're going to show you installed, how it works, the fit and finish, the connector mounted. So we're going to show everything that we showed you tonight. We're going to show you installed, so you can see the fit and finish and the quality, and most important, how it sounds.
Yeah.
Like, it could look good, but if it doesn't sound good, it's not really worth it. So we're going to show you that it's both. So Carlos Ramirez, NVS Audio, signing off.
Brandon, Davidson Audio, signing off too.
I'll see you guys tomorrow.